Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Scorpio September 2019 horoscope forecast, part 2 of 2. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing up is as far as September goes, Venus will be in Libra from the 14th until the 30th. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, at this time, one way this may manifest is financial, monetary limitations, perhaps attributed to overspending on beauty, art supplies. It could be even legal issues at this time, relationships. If you're unattached at this time, Scorpio, you may connect with a Libra Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Libra characteristics. It could be for a clandestine affair. It could be something that you do very inconspicuously and very discreetly. It could also be about valuing peace, diplomacy, tact, refinement, even being persuasive, intellectual sociability with an aunt or an uncle. Now, in some cases, in isolated cases, this could also be about it might be a Libra relationship you may have. It could be a strong friendship or even a lover. It could actually be a hidden adversary. It could be a Libra Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Libra traits. Anyway, and also in some cases, the relationships might be tied into your secret sorrows at this time, and maybe an overwhelming need for peace might be as well. Perhaps reconciliation, and maybe too much of a need for compromise and reconciliation. Really might be somehow tied in to that, and perhaps as an example, situations where maybe you could have maybe fought more might really be hitting you home at this time. So to speak, and you realize maybe that there was just too much of a need for peace. That might be, and again, that might be tied into secret sorrows, and so anyway. Next thing up, well, Mars will be in Virgo, so the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, a situation with friends and acquaintances might be more acrimonious and contentious than usual. There could be arguments over hygiene, health, diet, work. It could also be a time where you're injecting a lot of vitality and energy into Virgo type goals and aspirations, such as something with diet, health, hygiene, nutrition, something with organization, such as being a professional organizer, something that requires being very punctilious with details such as data entry or computer programming. And if you're unattached at this time, Scorpio, you may connect with a Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person. It could be with a sexual liaison. It could be somebody that could be a friend, an acquaintance, somebody you meet through social media, social networking, or even someone you know at a group, club, or organization. And also, to the situation, even with the stepchild, in some cases, if applicable, can be somewhat contentious and acrimonious. There might be arguments over health, hygiene, a lot of critical, derogatory remarks. So anyway, next thing up, well, Jupiter will be in Sagittarius still, so the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, as I've stated in previous videos, Jupiter could be rather paradoxical. It could be very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. Now, in some cases, this could very well enlarge and expand foolhardy, over-optimistic, over-enthusiastic, over-exuberance, and even recklessness in monetary matters. It could even be over-accumulating possessions at this time, and also, too, at this time as well. I mean, on a positive end, this could also be very auspicious for Sagittarius monetary endeavors. It could be something connected with sports, the law, religion, translation, publishing, sports, anything Sagittarius related, working in stables. And now also too, it could also be putting a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm maybe into the outdoors and adventure as part of your values at this time. And it could also manifest in some cases just expanding your horizons on a monetary level at this time as well. So, and also Jupiterian type people might figure more prominently in your values, such as philosophers, people in higher education, publishers, people connected with the law. So anyway, Next thing up, well, Saturn will be in Capricorn still, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, in some cases, this may manifest in restrictions and limitations in your communications. You might be thinking a little bit more despondent at this time and maybe feeling somewhat melancholy. Sometimes when somebody has this transit, there might be a greater propensity for really thinking, maybe feeling a little bit more depressed because you're talking about Saturn, the sad planet, in the house of rational thinking. And at the same time, it could also manifest in disciplined thinking as well at this time, and knowing when to hold back, when to restrain yourself when you're talking. Now, in some cases, this could also be about having to take care of a sickly or debilitated sibling, cousin, or neighbor. It could be something Capricorn related, such as something with the bones, the knees, the joints, the hamstrings, and maybe making you feel somewhat despondent in melancholy at this time. And also too, in some cases, this could be about very serious communications and talking about Saturn type things. It could be things connected with dentistry, just responsibilities in general. It could also be about politics, business, the government, anything that could be Saturn / Capricorn related at this time. So, and also too, it could be that older people might figure more prominently in your communications, your short journeys at this time, and it could be Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Capricorn traits. Next thing up, Uranus will still be in Taurus, so the seventh house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, one way this may manifest, this in some cases, if you're unattached at this time, Scorpio, it could be a time where you might marry a foreigner or an innovator or somebody that might be somewhat unusual or unorthodox. It could be somebody in some Uranus type profession, such as an astrologer, an astronomer, somebody in computers or electronics. And you might experience a lot of fluctuations in your relationships more so than usual at this time. It could also manifest in some cases in unusual forms of competition. It could be playing some kind of extreme sports or doing anything that could be rather unusual and maybe even to you, such as bungee cord jumping. I mean, I don't know if that's actually a competition or not. But you understand what I'm saying. You could be going around on a unicycle with a board on your head and have someone else do the same thing, and see which one lasts the longest in terms of the board not falling off. That just anything that could be very bizarre or unusual at this time. Now, in some cases too, this could also be about getting involved in some kind of Uranus type partnership, and could be something connected with astronomy or astrology, something with computers or electronics or innovation, something that has to do with new ideas, new concepts. So anyway, you might be dealing with more stubborn, unusual stubborn, obstinate behavior from a grandmother, from people you're in relationships with, others in general. It could be dealing with seventh house people such as arbitrators, negotiators, attorneys. Next thing up, Neptune will still be in Pisces, so the fifth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, one way this may manifest, this could be about lovers and children, maybe being a little bit more nebulous and unclear than usual. It might be hard to decipher maybe and ascertain their motives at this time and their character composition. It could also be a time too when you're talking about Neptune energy, it's more lackadaisical, lethargic energy. One way this might pan out is that, you might feel more like daydreaming and fantasizing as far as fifth house matters go, such as love, romance, matters with children, investments, attaining greater personal popularity, things that are fun, amusement, enjoyable, than actually doing them. And a lot of this can be predicated and dependent on aspects as mixed to points in your chart. Let's say if this makes a sextile or trine, actually, let me go back. Let me rewind. Sorry about that, people. Especially if this makes an adverse aspect here, natal, Sun, Mars, or Ascendant, this could even increase that propensity for wanting to fantasize and daydream more in these matters as opposed to actually acting on them. So And also, too, you might have a thing for some cases if you're into sports. This could be that time where you might really become interested in things of a speculative nature as far as sports go, such as hypothetical sports matchups, playing teams from the past against each other, going on to like whatifsports.com. And it could be a time where you get more involved in Neptunian type hobbies and things of enjoyment. It could be things connected with the metaphysical, which include astrology, photography, chemistry, poetry, dancing, illusion, anything Neptune related. Hold on a moment, people. Last but not least, Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, this could be a time where you might be doing some transformation and connection with the way you speak. It could be using like a voice transformation or device or what have you. Could be just learning a new language and speaking that maybe even more fluently than your current language. Now, I know a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but I'm going to anyway. In some cases, this could be about the actual or literal death of a sibling, a cousin, a neighbor, someone you knew from your early education. It could also be about the obliteration of your communications at some point, but remember that Pluto is also about revival, regeneration, and rebirth. So when something goes away with Pluto, it can often be reborn, so to speak, later on, or it might even be supplanted with new people that you may become involved in your day-to-day communications. You might find yourself at this time remember that Pluto is about obliteration and destruction. It could even be a vehicle that maybe you don't want anymore and it's something you feel is outdated. You might wind up replacing it with something different during this time when you're talking about Pluto and the third house in astrology. It could also be a time too where you find yourself really talking more about Plutonian things. It could be something connected with astrology, the occult, supernatural, insurance, recycling, transformation in general, even matters connected with death. Your thinking might be a little bit morose and morbid than usual. Remember, third house is about just our general learning. It could be, it's our early education, but it could be just not when you're going to college, because that's the ninth house, higher education, but just general assimilation of information. You might find yourself more interested in like reading, say, books that are assimilating information that are Plutonian-like, such as matters connected with death and astrology, the occult, supernatural, horror, things that are connected with supernatural, things that are connected with Pluto. And they might be it's a lot of deep thinking you might be involved in at this time, and deep conversations with others in general that are very provocative. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Scorpio September 2019 horoscope forecast part 2 of 2. Stay tuned next time where I'll be giving you my Sagittarius September 2019 horoscope forecast part 1 of 2. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person astrologically speaking based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Till next time, people, stay well.